How's it, everybody? My name is Pomai Freitas. I'm from the Big Island of Hawaii. Born and raised in Hilo. I started working at the biochar plant that he loves so much. I started working at the biochar plant, and one of our projects was to find alternate sources of biochar. So, being that the Big Island, we had an invasive plant. It's called gorse. It's taking over the mountain of Mauna Kea. There's over 20,000 acres of gorse. We found out that using gorse makes pretty good biochar, but it also makes good animal feed. So, with turning that and a couple other byproducts on the Big Island, we were able to make an animal feed that is so high in protein that cows, pigs, horses, sheep, goats, they could all survive. So with that being said, we ended up finding out there was a feed mill built on our island that basically went unused. Nobody used it. So we got in touch with the owners of the feed mill, which is Hawaii Pacific University. Working with them, we're putting together a program to use the feed mill. We're partnering with the County of Hawaii, Department of Hawaiian Homelands, University of Hawaii. Our partner Symbrosia they'll get into all the good stuff with you in a little bit. They're the brains behind the operation. So yeah, we found out that we can make animal feed. And with animal feed being during the pandemic, we found out that going into the pandemic, we had 97 hog farms on the Big Island. Coming out of the pandemic, just surviving today, we have 27. And 27 hog farms aren't even 100% operational. Because of the pandemic and food supply shortage for all the hog farms, families lost all their livelihoods. Because they lost their livelihoods, no food on the table. So we decided to see what we can do to help these farmers. This is a 100% community-based. We're going to make sure that the farmers and ranchers on the island get taken care of first before anything else happens. We don't want to see any of these farmers that work their whole lives to supply us with feed, with subsistence, just for them to lose everything they got because of the pandemic. So besides that, I'll let the two geniuses behind the whole trials go ahead, and we're running our first trial. We're running a trial on pigs, and Dr. Nick is from Hilo. He'll explain to you on how our trials are going to go.
Aloha. I gotta calibrate here where to sit. Hello, my name's Nick Kruger. Yeah. Wow, what an introduction to live up to. God, multiple genius. Anyway, my folks would disagree with you. Yeah, I'm an instructor of integrated crop livestock systems at University of Hawaii at Hilo. I have been really excited about this project since Pomai brought it up to me. The largest issue facing really any aspect of livestock production out here throughout the state really is feed, right? It's well over half, many times well over 60% of an operation's cost, right? And gorse provides a really interesting double-bladed kind of solution, right? Has anyone here had much first-hand experience with gorse? Yeah, ooh, yeah, oh, wow, 12, 15, 20-foot canopies of this kind of woody perennial plant that has very large thorns with very small thorns between them, right? We've got a lot of we've got a lot of it occurring in, on the windward side of Mauna Kea, the lee and windward side of Haleakala, in a lot of actually our existing cattle pastures, right? So not only are we seeing a lot of our forage grasses that have been used throughout the islands for decades getting choked out at the expense of this thorny shrub, right? And we're losing arable land for cattle production. And so it's a problem in and of itself. I've worked with a number of ranches that have full-time staff solely focused on taking out gorse, right? They operate bulldozers daily, right? And so it's already being cleared in a number of situations. And so to be able to have an opportunity that would be able to take the material, right, of clearing out this invasive plant and utilizing it for livestock feed is a really great goal. And again, it's looking pretty promising. The nutritional value of gorse can vary greatly, right? It can have protein contents relative to alfalfa, right? So if I have any other animal folks out here, that ought to ring a bell. That's not all the time, right? But it can exist, right? Even as a component of a livestock feed, right now at this point, we'll take anything we can get to get any more viable animal feed out here. So as Pomai mentioned, we're working on getting a performance trial with swine first, right, where gorse is going to be the major ingredient of a formulated ration. We're looking to put a study together at Hilo in our swine facilities to compare how rapidly pigs grow under this pelletized formulated ration of gorse next to our commercial standards of corn and soybean. Swine would not be the only livestock species that would benefit from gorse being used as a livestock feed. Cattle, sheep and goats, poultry, all of these industries are really have been in a downhill trajectory over the last few decades. And a big reason for that downfall is the continued lack of locally available feedstuffs and the increasing cost of transporting commercial standardized feedstuffs. So really exciting stuff. We'll see how fast those pigs grow, of course, right? But exciting stuff. I'm going to pass it over to Alexia here.
Thanks, Dr. Nick. Thanks, Pomai. Aloha kako. My name is Alexia Akbai. I'm the CEO and founder of Symbrosia. I am not in the pig industry directly, but I grow seaweed, limu kohu, at the Nelha facility in Kona, Hawaii. And we've been growing this seaweed crop for the past 3 years as a livestock feed additive. It's a red macroalgae for the purpose of climate smart commodities. When you include this seaweed into the diet of cattle at a very small percentage of their diet, 0.5%, it reduces their methane emissions, the major source of greenhouse gases from growing cattle, by over 80% in a commercial setting. And so about a year ago, I met Pomai at an open house at the feed mill, and we quickly connected around the potential for the seaweed to be part of this feed formulation. When you get involved in the agriculture industry in Hawaii, you quickly realized how essential and critical food security and food sovereignty is to sustaining our population and the health of our community. And so together we're working to push these two initiatives forward, where we're decarbonizing the livestock industry with the seaweed product that we're growing, and then we're also working to provide a local sustainable input or a reliable source of feed. In addition to being part of a feed pellet, we've done a lot of innovation and research around macroalgae and seaweed production in the state. For every kilogram of seaweed that we produce, we reduce 9 kilograms equivalent of carbon dioxide through that conversion to methane reduction. So it's probably one of the most sustainable seaweed or inputs that you could grow. And additionally, we work with a fish farm locally next to us to use their fish waste, the poop essentially from their fish, as fertilizer for our seaweed. And so we've really centralized circular production in the creation of our product as well. We're really excited to see where this project goes with Pamai. There's a lot of potential and interest in the market. We're working with Parker Ranch and the reemerging dairy farms on the north side of Hawaii Island to implement this into new products that would be available within the state. Thank you.
I think, for rearing biochar for livestock, even in, Kona or Big Island, I think it's a very huge potential for livestock in the Big Island. So when we use the biochar, so there are two, the benefit options. One thing is, the low release carbon dioxide in the land, and also good for the land. The second one, if you use the very small percentage of the biochar in the feed for the livestock, for example for cattle, of course they reduce the methane release in the stock is too much. So that understand. You understand so well. So then the capture the twice the benefit. One thing is reduce the carbon dioxide slowly released in the land. The second one is reduce the methane in the cattle stomach. So of course we need to research more. But very small percentage, 1% or 2% in the feed. I think this is the progress, and I think that's how I can do this, because how I see the huge potential for the the cattle and for the livestock. I think. So I think this I think it's we should tax this from my perspective. Thank you.
Thank you.